which is like a closing event program on behalf of the project. And in order to start that, I would like to invite Mr. Abhay Shankar Verma, DDG TEC, looking at mobile technology topic. Sir, please, if you can join us on the stage. Thank you. Also, I would like to request Mr. Benoit Sobroche, First Counselor, Digital Transformation Delegation of the European Union to India. Please give a hand for them. So, Benoit, can I request you to share with all of us a brief introduction of the project? Thank you.
Thank you, Sachin. So the event now is to celebrate the achievements of this India-EU cooperation project on ICT-related standardization policy and legislation. Within the next couple of hours or a bit less, because we're a bit pressured by time, you are going to have some flavor of what has been done through this project. But I would like first, to take it a bit higher and to explain the reason of the engagement, in particular of the EU, of the European Union, together with India. And I would like, before that, even thanking the Department of Telecom and DDG Verma for being with us today and showing, this commitment on cooperation between the European Union and India on these topics. So we discussed just before on Internet of Things and 1M2M, and you could have asked why is the European Union here promoting and supporting the development of this standardization here in India. The idea is that India and the European Union are strategic partners. So at a very high level, there is a common political wish to have close links between the two blocks. And this is based on both common values, and if you talk about human-centric development, for instance, but also convergent interest. And when we talk about convergent interest, I could, for instance, take the example of the European Union international strategy on research and innovation, which talks about strategic autonomy, and India talking about Bharat, or the self-reliant India. Does that mean that each bloc wants to develop on its own? No. The idea is that we want to find partners with whom we can work based on the element of trust. Again, at a very high level, at political level, this translates into a national summit between Prime Minister Modi and the President of the Commission and the President of the European Council, where they discuss and put forward this element of collaboration, cooperation, policy dialogue under this strategic partnership. And it's all the more important now that we see that we have a redefinition of the world on and some threat on geopolitical terms. I cannot but mention the fact that today itself we are witnessing the first anniversary of the war in Europe and the aggression of Russia to Ukraine, something which is unprovoked, unjustifiable, well decided, but which it is in Europe, but it has repercussion at the world level. It has repercussion on, of course, political terms, but also on societal terms. And it's redefining the world. And that's why it's even all the more important to have trusted partners with whom we can work, to have a cooperation which is mutually beneficial, but also non-exclusive. Apart from this summit that I mentioned, these translated and brought a number of elements which are very relevant with the topic that we're mentioning and on which the project was working on information and communication technology. Let me cite three of them, very recent. In 2021, India and the European Union signed a connectivity partnership. This connectivity partnership has four pillars. The first one is about digital connectivity. And we were already talking about Internet of Things, 5G based on global standards, cooperation, developing connectivity between EU and India. This has been brought forward further with investment proposal by the EU under financing instrument, which is called the Global Gateway, where the elements of the connectivity partnership will be funded very, very practically. I do remember I participated in December, for instance, in a workshop where we were talking about telecom satellite. Again, there are elements of standardization that are needed and on which the project brought support. But there are elements also of investments that can be looked into this element. So that's just an example. The other very relevant development, which occurred actually as early as this month, is the definition of the term of reference for a Trade and Technology Council, which has been agreed between Prime Minister Modi and the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, last year in March. Again, this Trade and Technology Council is putting in place at a very high political level collaboration in a number of areas. The first one is about information and communication technology. All the elements that we've discussed here will be taken up at a very high political level. And from this political impetus, we then develop a number of actions and activities related to the implementation. So this implementation goes through a policy dialogue, government to government, but also through a number of instruments. And this project is definitely a very good example of the instrument that can be used to bring together the actors and the two ecosystems, European and India, to collaborate together, to exchange and to develop capacity building on both sides, not only for the bilateral benefit, but also for a joint collaboration at international level, in particular when we talk about standards. So that's why it's very important for us to celebrate the achievements that we've managed through this project and to show you a number of examples of such achievements, because this is something that we want to put forward. This is the end of the project, but it's definitely not the end of the collaboration. So we want to bring it further so that we can implement our joint visions and align our respective roadmaps to play our full role between EU and India on the international geopolitical map. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Benoit, for highlighting important elements of EU-India cooperation. And I would like to invite now Mr. Abhay Shankar Verma, TDG, TEC, Mobile Technology and looking at standards. Please share a few words, sir.
Thank you. Uh, my colleague from EU and friends. As about the project, he has already explained, so I will not take your time to repeat the same things. One thing I want like to mention that we believe, we in India believe Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So means world is a family, extended family. So in a family, as every child or every grown up cannot have all the expertise, so similar is the case here also. So EU is having expertise in certain fields which we may not be having, or there may be some expertise in India which they may not be having. So there is a better place where we sit together, talk to each other, and cooperate and exchange ideas, expertise, and knowledge with each other. So such type of collaboration should continue in future also. And I look forward that if once this project is complete, there will be a second phase of such project, and where we can continue to collaborate and exchange expertise between India and EU. Thank you.
So that was quite brief, but but to the point. And I think in the interest of time, since we are also running delayed, so it's quite appreciated. But we value the feedback that you have shared. Initially, we planned for an opening session and a, a session following it, and I was asked to make a small presentation sharing my experience. So if you bear with me, and I can showcase some human side of this project. So I didn't choose to highlight the technical aspect of this project. So if you can share my slides. Yes, thank you. So I thought, reflecting on this project where I worked from 2015 and 21, I had very, what do you say, positive experiences, and I would like to share with all of you today. And I'm grateful to you guys for giving me an opportunity to share this experiences. So what I want to showcase is the kind of ideas I got about my own country, which is India. And I believe that India's strength lies in its young talent. And this is a photo from a hackathon. You can see how engaged and engrossed these students are. And this is what I believe that a project like EU India cooperation could bring together. And we did our first hackathon in 2018 in IISc Bangalore. I made a square in I don't know if you are able to spot this guy in the group picture. So he's called Suraj. He's named Suraj, and he participated in this hackathon. He could not win it. I didn't know him then, but then we organized a second hackathon, which he ended up winning. And what impressed me about him was this persistence. So he came for the first time. He learned about 1M2M, and he came all the way from Bangalore to Hyderabad, and he ended up winning. And we had shared this prize with him and other two girls who came from Coimbatore. So for me, this was the element that I want to highlight, that when we organize something, we provide a platform for visibility. It really brings out the talent. And then we did a trip with them to Estonia. So in the middle, you could see next to me is the executive vice president of EU in those days, who was responsible for digital single market. We ended up having a group photo with him because he was the previous prime minister of Estonia. So we just asked him, that could he support us by having a photo together. And then fast forward, somehow Suraj ended up joining IIIT Hyderabad. So not just he won the hackathon, he became a resource for us teaching 1M2M. I think this is really commendable that somebody comes and then they become a tutor. And I think Sachin Chaudhary here could elaborate on the work in IIIT later. But for me, it was quite, you know, really motivating that when we are touching lives, how they are further making a difference. And today, Suraj has completed his PhD from IIIT Hyderabad. So somebody who started, from bachelor's is today a PhD in robotics. And this other girl that I was showing you in the picture, she went on to do her PhD from Cambridge, so which is one of the top universities in the world. And her fellow winner also ended up doing her masters. So I was in touch with them for the last 4 5 years, and I've seen this journey, that how they have grown, from their bachelors to doing masters in world class places. And this is the real benefit or of a project like this, because when they win a hackathon, they put this in their CV, and they can proudly showcase that what they have achieved. And to me, this is one of the side maybe that is not always often highlighted. But now Suraj is building a aerospace startup, one of the new topics. You could see the defense minister here in the picture with him. So I feel really proud, and I think the triple IT colleagues would share more examples later. But I'm not trying to say that project did all of this. I'm just saying that when we, as project, come to know talented people, that is the deepest part of my work that brings satisfaction, which is to support talented people. And I sincerely believe when people on both sides come together, like you are physically here from Europe and India, so we may do cooperation through an event like once, but when people meet each other, that cooperation is never ending. And I think that you will probably highlight in the triple IT example. The other thing that I also realize is that if we don't create such platforms for visibility, the young people are not getting that opportunity. And we create these platforms, they get a opportunity to be visible, but they also use it gainfully in their next step in the career. So coincidentally, all the three students I chose, they have been, but we have, been supporting many other hackathons and many other winners. In the interest of time, I'm not going to share all the stories, but maybe that is for some other day. And I feel now that I've been living in Europe, I was always borrowing my examples from innovation that I saw in India, because these applications that these students were proposing, they were amazing, they were world class. So I was never running out of examples to quote from my 6 years that I was part of the project. So thank you very much for listening to me. And with this, maybe we can close the first session. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Thank you, Benoit, for joining us. Maybe I would like to request Paulius now, if you could come onto the stage and felicitate our guest. Please put a hand together for Mr. Abhay Shankar. Paulius, may I request you to felicitate Mr. Benoit Sobrosh, although your colleague. Yeah. So, with this, we would like to go to the next session now. And for the next session, I'm very happy to share that we have some experiences shared not by me, but by actual doers. So, this session, we would like to invite Professor Sachin Chaudhary from IIIT Hyderabad. Would you like to? Yeah, because then you can see it better. Yeah, thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm really happy here to celebrate the success of this India U project. I'm really honored, and like we are grateful to the India U project for this funding. And now I just want to summarize the activities which we have did. And believe me, we have done many, and I'm trying to only showcase few of them here. I'm not. So the genesis of this center of excellence on IoT and 1M2M for smart cities at IIIT Hyderabad started with me knowing Sachin already, like, and then we organized in 2018 two hackathons, tutorial and hackathon on 1M2M, and so after which we started, we were already doing some IoT work on IoT, and then like there was a proposal that why don't you apply for the center of excellence, and we did, and we also got the, thankfully we got the project. And this is a team, it started in January of 2019, and since it's a very multidisciplinary topic, the smart city, so we have many faculty coming for this center of excellence. And believe me, the kind of structure at IIIT, which is very flexible, it's so easy to do multidisciplinary research. Okay, so you can see all the faculty who are here are from different centers, and you know me, Deepak, Aftab, Vishal, Ramesh, and Kavita. So some of the activities which were funded through the project were the knowledge initiatives like tutorial, hackathon, workshops. We also conducted a MOOC, and then like courses in IIIT. Like we also integrated 1M2M in our courses. And I will also talk about the college research affiliate program which we have started, and then we also hosted this 1M2M industry day. And we have now few of the students already graduating with 1M2M in their thesis, in the sense which is the main part of the thesis. And we have been doing webinars. In addition to the knowledge initiatives, we also did a lot of research collaborations. So in India, like TSDSI, IUDX, Samsung, CDOT, CDAC, and in Estonia, Professor Vishal had a delegation which basically in Jan 2019. But the one which were which is standout, I will also talk about this soon, is the French visit in 2019, which changed the whole game for us. And yeah, so delegation also made a basically the India U project also made a video out of the whole experience. So these are the courses, as I mentioned, which we are teaching at IIIT on IoT. Okay, so these are IoT courses at IIIT. So we have first year CSE, computer science engineering, second year computer science engineering. Then we are also teaching IoT to EC students and also to civil students. So we'll say, how are you teaching IoT to civil students? But we are doing it to the MTech students, and it's really interesting. You can see their energy. They are no less than let's say computer science students in coming up with ideas and on IoT and all. And we also giving this course on IoT and smart analytics to professionals. This is done with the collaboration with Talent Sprint. So out of these courses, we integrated 1M2M in two courses. One is that first year BTech CSE, and this has been doing, we have been doing this since last 2019. Okay, since basically 2019, and each year each batch has 150 students. Okay, and this has few classes on 1M2M, and then there are lab session as well. And the faculty, as I mentioned, Deepak has been leading this. Initially Lavanya was there, but after Lavanya, Deepak has been handling this course. And already Sachin talked about the lab in 2019. Suraj has been, you can see Suraj here winning here, but already Sachin talked about it. So he was our first teaching assistant who actually took the lab. Okay, so that was a big boost for us, because without him it would have been difficult for the first time. And after the first time it was much easier for us, because we had our own students who were trained. So the first year students, when they go to second year, they will teach the first year students the 1M2M. Okay, so that was very good for us. So now we have the ecosystem where every year 150 students are getting exposed to 1M2M. I think that is not happening anywhere in the country. Then comes the second course. Okay, these are the photos from courses, and yeah, Lavanya, and then lab sessions and classes. Then comes the second course, which is capstone project, which Bob mentioned. So this is very hands-on course. The idea is to develop a solution, IoT solution, based on the what kind of deployments you want to make inside the campus, in our smart campus. Okay, and keep in mind that this is deployment oriented. We are not interested to see breadboard level implementation. If it is not deployed, you are failed. You are failing the course. Okay, so the deployment is very, very crucial. And in the deployment, there has to be have 1M2M, let's say, implementation. Okay, so all your solutions have to be 1M2M compliant. Okay, it should have the 1M2M element. And you can see that we started already. As I mentioned, each computer science batch is 150 students, so we had 50 teams of 3 students each, and the hardware was provided by institute actually provided 10 lakh worth of hardware for the first year, okay, which is a significant investment. And then we basically deployed this air pollution, building energy efficiency, water quality, smart rooms, street lights, and all the faculties from Center of Excellence gave different projects. Okay, you can also see a YouTube video. I'm not going to play this, but we also made a product out of that. And as I mentioned, generally, if you see the most of the colleges, the labs end on a breadboard, but here the idea was that it will start on the breadboard. Okay, and they will do PCB, they will do 3D box modeling, they will actually deploy, come back, and again basically do a test deployment, again do let's say, based on the learnings from the field, they will again change or modify their solution and again deploy. And the idea was to collect data for at least 7 days. Okay, and this is these are some photos from that course, and this is the team which actually second year students who deployed the indoor air pollution solution. And this team actually won a hackathon, and when they won a India level hackathon, they were in their second year, and they were actually winning against much, I will say, there were companies and all, and this second year students were able to win the let's say, hackathon. And by the way, he's Vikrant, and he in the later part he also kind of was our resource person for the MOOCs we created. Okay, and then I think one of the nodes was deployed in my house, and the Anuradha shared the experience that I could tell whether, basically from the data, the students could tell me whether I was cooking chapatis or rice. Okay, so that was very interesting, and you can see that the students are so interested. By the way, these are CS students, and they are doing soldering, and they enjoyed a lot. There was amazing energy in the let's say, course. And again, they have to deploy this, do analysis again. As I mentioned, 1M2M, and different kind of interpretations and all. So next thing was the MOOC. So Deepak was the main. So Deepak is our main person on 1M2M, the faculty. He's from Computer Systems Group, and Shubham is a MS student. He's graduating. His thesis is on 1M2M. Okay, so and this is in collaboration with Theory. And then, as I mentioned, Vikrant already won that hackathon, and again he has been resource person for this MOOC, and the MOOC has been pretty successful. At like more than 600 students have used it already, and we are using it for our next other program called as Research Teaser. Okay, so already more than 1,000 students have gone through this kind of material. Then this college research affiliate program, the idea behind this program is that we want to mentor different colleges. So not only, so this idea came from Vijay Madanji and Sachin, that we should have this hub and spoke model. So we don't want to limit all the knowledge to ourselves. So we always believe in being very open and disseminate the knowledge. So currently we are mentoring different faculty and students from different colleges in Hyderabad and around. And in this case, we are basically having two, let's say two different phases in the, two different, let's say, methods. One is for students, where we have 3 phases. In the first phase, large amount of students, let's say 400 students, are doing this online research teaser for 1 month, and it's not only online, but actually our TAs are guiding them. Okay, so they are doing some projects, they are going through some material, the material which we have already provided. In addition to that, they are also doing assignments, actual projects, small projects on IoT and 1M2M. From there, we select 100 plus students and we call them to Triple IT for a 2-day hands-on workshop. Already we conducted last year this thing, and here we also call the faculty. Okay, so faculty as well as the students. So they again do a deployment-oriented project where we are mentoring them. We are giving them technical lectures as well as let's say we are conducting the hands-on workshop to develop and deploy different IoT solutions, IoT and 1M2M solutions. And then out of this, let's say 100, we'll again select 20 for long-term internships. So they come then again to us for, let's say, 6 months, 4 months, whatever they can. Some of them eventually end up converting for MS. They want to stay back for even longer time. Okay. Second thing is faculty immersion. So basically, not only we are, as I mentioned, not only we are mentoring students, but also the faculty. Because what we believe is that in long run, if you only keep mentoring students, it will not be scalable model. Because if we mentor the faculty, then eventually the faculty will start basically able to mentor more number of students in their college. So this will be a very nice scalable model. So we are actually mentoring the faculty on a very long time scale. Okay, 6 months, 1 year. We are inviting them to come to Triple IT, spend time, work with us, understand the culture, and then go back, then do again deployment in their college. Yeah, I already talked about the hub and spoke model. And this was the first hands-on workshop we did in 2022. And this was a 2 days event. More than 100 students participated. More than 18 faculty of this 6 colleges participated. And there was theory has been like collaborating us on this also, and he gave a special online lecture. And this was basically there were 30 teams again, and who developed IoT and 1M2M solution on air pollution, and they went back and deployed it into their colleges. Okay, so some of them are even running now after a year. And as I mentioned already, 20 plus students are already doing internship with us, and second workshop is supposed to be in the next month. So these are some photos from the event. You can see how engrossed the students are, and the energy levels were amazing. Okay, they were really happy. Even the faculty who came from the colleges, they were surprised that their students are so energetic. Because what was happening, that they were actually doing very hands-on stuff, and they were finding difficulties, and when they solve things, suddenly that eureka moment happens, ki, "Arey, I'm able to do this," and something on a different level. Okay, and you can see that they had a whole photo session as if they have created something big. I think there was very nice, lot of energy, and you can see the photos from the event. And yeah, after that, our students, already Anuradha mentioned that our students have been winning hackathons, 1M2M hackathons. And then about the France visit. So basically, me, Ramesh, Aftab, and Vishal visited France last CNRS and INSA. So where Professor Thierry hosted us, and then Bordeaux, where government officials of Bordeaux Metropole hosted us. And we are really thankful for them, amazing hosts. And that was very important for us. That was very eye-opening, because those experiences were really changed the whole thing for us. So one thing I wanted to mention here was already we are doing a lot of research collaboration now with Theory. So as you mentioned, the project might be ending, but the collaboration is ongoing, and it is pretty good. We are like already worked on few papers, and we have already submitted proposal which didn't go through, but we will submit few more. So that is, at least that whole ecosystem has started. And then the main thing was that after visiting, let's say, both the places. So last CNRS has this Atrium building, right? So after seeing this building, we really got excited that we wanted to do something like this in our campus. And again, when we went to Bodu Metropole, where we saw the deployment, we said, this is something really, that this things really excited us. And this is the reason we changed the whole approach. When we came back, we changed the whole course. Till then, we were never doing any deployments. And when we started doing deployments, that whole thing changed our approach. We started, which basically started also, like we started also doing a lot of patents. I will say, not in addition to publication, patents, and other very interesting innovations. One very interesting thing also happened is that when we planned the trip, there was a doubt whether why Ramesh is going, because Ramesh was supposed to be outreach. He's a software engineer, but he was from outreach. But he was the person who actually connected the whole thing. And ultimately, when we came back, he talked to the mighty and like DST people, and then we got this very interesting thing, the Smart City Research Center. Okay, so that resulted in this India's first living lab at for smart cities. Already, this is the team I talked about. You can see Anuradha has done an excellent job. I will say Anuradha and Deepak and the team have really done amazing job on 1M2 implementation at IIIT, and I think that has been very nice. So already she talked about this, so I will kind of skip, but I would want to say thanks to India U project, TSDSI and HC, and a special thanks to Sachin. He mentored a lot, and like he also seeded, not only seeded but also nurtured, gave many ideas. I also want to thank Alok ji and Arun ji, and then I also want to thank from TSDC. I want to thank Bindu. Like I have been kind of in constant touch with her. She has been pushing me to do many things, and even Vijay ji for his constant support and guidance. From I also want to thank Theory, because he has been really solid, like support, collaboration. At every time we say propose something to him, he's always open to the collaboration. And finally, IIIT. I think the culture at IIIT is amazing. That has really helped to take this thing to a next level. And I'm really, I can say that this the India EU project has really led to a much bigger impact in form of this living lab, and I'm very sure it will continue. Thank you.
So, since interest of time, I'm sure you could have spoken much longer, but I would like to request Eileen if you could felicitate Sachin. So I was attending one of the IoT weeks in HC, and it was Margot who told us to work with Theory. So thank you, Margot, for making that introduction to Theory Montile. I think Theory has become much closer to Hyderabad than to Bordu now. Yeah. So we have now the second talk by Professor Anand Shrivastava, who is a professor at EC department in IIIT Delhi. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, sounds good. Good evening. So first of all, let me thank Mr. Sachin, Mr. Mittal, who supported our Center of Excellence, and now Mr. Mukherjee has taken the baton from them. So thanks to TSDSI. So this is actually Center of Excellence on Light Fidelity, Li-Fi. So the goal as part of this project, we focused on capacity building by supporting research collaborations, having workshops, having hackathons, and exchange of experts between India and European Union. So we started with a vision, and we are still continuing with this vision. Development of technology solution products. So we made a couple of products. connect entrepreneurs with academic researchers, and development of training and classroom courses. And we have also participated in the standards for Li-Fi and visible light communication, manpower training, and last mile connectivity using visible light. So this group, my group, focuses on research areas which is around Li-Fi and visible light communication. So some of the activities or some of the areas are, we work on fiber plus VLC at the last mile performance analysis. We are also working on solar panel as a receiver, not the standard pin diode, because solar panel in remote areas, you harvest energy and also at the same time you can use solar panel for communication. So we work on solar panel as a receiver in optical wireless communication, and also Li-Fi for IoT applications. And now we have upgraded to physical and MAC layer of Li-Fi network. Also, we are working on indoor positioning using VLC, where you can get an accuracy of few centimeters, and coexistence of Li-Fi and Wi-Fi. And we have now recently started working with intelligent reflecting surfaces for optical wireless communication. So this is the pictures are here are actually the PhD students or the research scholars in the group. And apart from Li-Fi, we also work on wireless network based on user mobility, underwater communication, and elastic optical networks. So we conducted a workshop on visible light for broadband communication. It was attended by 1,000 plus students, and the speakers were from UK, from Germany, from France, and from Netherlands, and they were speakers from Indian industry, Wipro, and also from operators, Mr. A.K. Mittal, and then there was a speaker who has a startup in Li-Fi in India, who is incubated at IIIT Delhi, and myself and Professor Vivek Bora is also sitting in the audience, and Dr. Gaurav Ghatak, he is faculty at IIT Delhi. So this is another achievement we have. We made a MOOC, a massive open online course on optical wireless communication fundamentals and potential applications with a vision of 5G and beyond. Now, this is a MOOC which is actually 36 hours. So you are seeing here 6 experts, and these experts, they have 6 hours of recorded lecture. So it's like a full course. So we have, just completed this activity, recorded 36, and this is the, I think, only course which is available, and it is available to anybody. It will be uploaded on the EU website so that anybody can access it. So it covers a wide range of topics under optical wireless communication system. So it starts with introduction, and then MAC protocols for Li-Fi, and then how do you model and do the analysis of Li-Fi networks, includes free space, outdoor communication, and visible light for vehicular communication, that is V2V, vehicle to vehicle, or V2I, vehicle to infrastructure. And then finally we end with 6G with how do you migrate to 6G with optical wireless communication system. So the experts are myself, Professor Vivek, and Professor Marcos from University of Ulu. They are the leaders in 6G, and he leads the optical wireless or Li-Fi group in University of Ulu. And then we have Professor Abhishek Dikshit from IIT Delhi, Dr. Swaminathan from IIT Indore, and Dr. Gaurav Ghatak from IIT Delhi. We also started the activity of VLC and Li-Fi towards standards. So we have made a detailed technical report on VLC and Li-Fi, and we have identified few areas where we can contribute to the standards of Li-Fi and VLC. So that process has started. Some of the outcomes, so I don't have many slides here, but recently there was a IEEE ComStat conference in Bangalore. It's a very important conference for communication folks. So we got the best demo where we had demonstrated coexistence of Li-Fi and Wi-Fi. So, and we have shown that there is a handover mechanism happening, there is an improvement in the performance, improvement in the throughput. So there were many participants, and we were just the best, demo. And also one of the French minister, he visited IIIT Delhi, and he visited our Center for Excellence on Li-Fi, where he appreciated the effort, and there are some discussions going on to take it further. So this is when he visited, and he actually came with French ambassador of India and around 30 startups from France. They visited our center in November 22. So during this last 2 years, we have collaborated with University of Ulu. It is still going on, and Fraunhofer HHI, which is based in Germany, for mainly for standards, and University of Edinburgh in UK. During this period, two of our students have graduated, and they have done a very good work in Li-Fi area. One of them was on design and performance analysis of indoor VLC system considering human blockages. So he has been awarded doctorate from IIIT Delhi. And the other student, Rizwana, she worked on performance improvement in Li-Fi, which was using advanced modulation techniques so that you can get very, very high speed using Li-Fi of the order of 1 gigabits per second, and learning based coexistence of Li-Fi and Wi-Fi. So these were the two students who were awarded PhD, and some of the work was done in collaboration with different European universities. IIIT also, we have research focused, is a research focused institution, and we also focus on publishing. So these are some of the papers which are published during the last 2 years. So in 21, we had 6 IEEE conference and 6 IEEE journal papers. 22 was very good. We had 13 IEEE journals and 7 IEEE conference. And now 23 has just started, and we already have 4 conference and journal papers. So they are all high impact journals and conferences where we have participated. So this is all I had to share. Thank you very much.
May I request Ms. Bindu Srivastava from TSDSI to felicitate Professor Anand? Thank you, Professor Anand. Next we have is a online presentation. Professor Harish from Punjab University is joining us online. So if you could help me with the connection here.
Is the presenter now? You can present.
Professor Harish, can you hear us?
He's on mute.
He's on mute.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So I think we are trying to bring your screen here. A warm welcome from our side.
Thank you very much. Let me share my screen. Yep, probably my screen is visible to all of you.
Yes, we can see. Please go ahead. Thank you. Warm welcome again.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I will be talking about, there is some flicker in the screen. Yeah. So I'm talking about how we are using IoT in healthcare and agriculture. We call it Internet of Medical Things. So we, in the Punjab University, we have the Telecommunication Research Lab, where we are focusing on 2 domains. One is the healthcare, another is the agriculture from the preventive healthcare point of view.
Professor Harish, your screen is black, so maybe don't use the presentation mode if that solves it.
Yeah, now is it better?
Now we only see you, so we don't see the presentation.
Can you reshare your screen, sir?
You have to share your screen again, but I'm
Yes.
suggesting don't
Now
use. Yes, I think this will work. So please.
this will work, right? In the healthcare, first of all, we identified a challenge that in the healthcare we need to shift from hospital-centric care to the home-centric, and from the home to the round-the-clock care for the citizens. And we also need ubiquitous access to the healthcare driven gadgets, and we also need the intervention of internet of medical things so that all these machines can talk to each other. And this challenge we identified based on certain data, based on the non-availability of proper medical professionals in the Indian setup, particularly in the remote areas, wrong diagnostics and treatment by coax in the villages. And the private sector in India is quite expensive, hence out of reach of the poor people. And we identified that people have to travel long distances, and there are multiple widgets. For example, if a person who is sick want to consult some district level hospital 50, 60, 100 kilometers away, then has to basically leave the village with at least one or two persons to assist that patient, and then travel and then get consultation, then again come for the test next day if there are some tests recommended, etc. So there are number of issues related to distance also. And we identified that most of the doctors in the remote areas don't want to settle in the villages, they want to settle in the nearby cities. And there is long waiting time in the government hospitals. So due to the crowd of the patients and inadequate manpower and infrastructure, there is a challenge to provide the round-the-clock healthcare. So our team worked on a health kiosk where the machines are integrated, and the machines are talking to each other to provide 60 plus invasive and non-invasive tests for the point of care diagnostics. This particular product now is taken up by two startups. One is Shri Venkateshwara Medicare, another is the Minthosa startup named Minthosa. So these two startups by the students are now basically commercializing this particular product. So in this product, the features included are that there can be pre-consultation test, which can be done by any person. Then there can be consultation with the doctor, like through the live video consultation. And then the doctor can recommend some of the additional tests which can be done over the biochemistry analyzer or urine analyzer if those are invasive tests. And if are non-invasive, like 12-channel ECG, 12 lead 12-channel ECG, that can also be performed, etc. So this is the overall architecture on which these two startups are working. So these two startups are now preparing a set of the doctors, impaneling the set of the doctors who can give 2 to 3 hours a day to consult the patients. And these machines are installed at various locations in the remote areas. And along with these machines, we have the invasive machines like biochemistry analyzer and the other machines, urine analyzer, etc. And these machines are talking to each other without the intervention of any of the medical professionals. So only the person deployed there on these machines has to put the sample into the machine, and then machine will automatically take all the parameters, capture all the parameters, feed all the parameters into the cloud data. Similarly, whenever the doctor recommends a test from the remote location, then that test will automatically download over the machine. So only intervention required is to take the sample, incubate the sample, and then put it into the machine. So we have a live demonstration also available. So I will share just the brief snippets of the live demonstration. Just give me 1 second. So I need to stop sharing, then open the another window for the live demonstration. Yeah. So this is basically the machine. So this machine, if you will see this machine, all the non-invasive devices are connected with the machine, and the sensors of the non-invasive devices are capturing all the parameters of the patient, like for example, starting from the weight and height. So the operator has to only press the buttons and just put it at the appropriate.
मैम ये SpO2 है, इससे आपका ऑक्सीजन लेवल चेक करते हैं हम।
So we try to use all the standardized devices
मैम आप आपका ग्लूकोज चेक
available
करने
in
के
the
लिए
market,
ब्लड सैंपल
which
लेंगे
are
अब
already
आपका।
tested, tried, and in use.
ठीक है। अब हम आपके डॉक्टर के साथ
Thereafter,
पेट में दर्द रहता है पिछले
the
3-4
doctor
दिन से
consults.
ना बॉडी में जैसे टायर्डनेस सी रहती है।
So after the doctor consultation,
ठीक है, मैं यहाँ से डाउनलोड का ऑप्शन दे देती हूँ। लैब में वहाँ ऑनलाइन पे करना है।
हाँ इनकी ऑफलाइन।
so it includes the system like. So if the doctor prescribes the non-invasive test, the person deployed there has to take the blood sample, etc., and put it into the machine. Now, if you look at this particular interface, automatically from the cloud, along with the patient ID, the data is fed into the machine. So this particular kiosk is talking to the blood analyzer, and then the blood analyzer feeding all the data directly into the.
ठीक है, आप लैब से अपनी रिपोर्ट्स ले लीजिए, प्रिंट हो।
And then after the results, again, patient can have the consultation.
आपने क्या करना है, आपने हवा भरने के एक्सेल करने के बाद उसको वापस इनहेल करना है, ठीक है? आपको समझ आ गया?
Which are available on this particular platform. So this is one of the use case on which we have worked in our lab, and another use case we worked on the agriculture. So the challenge of the agriculture use case is related to the stubble burning and air quality, which is ultimately impacting the health of the citizens. And what we identified that the fire incidents are increasing in the northern India in the last couple of years, like in 2020, 2021 and 2022. There are a number of farm fire incidents in India, particularly in.
Professor Harish, yeah. Can I request you to wrap up fast because we have limited time.
Sure.
Thank you.
Good. So in this particular use case, although this is the architecture, but I will be focusing only on the sensor part. So in the sensor part, we have designed a module which has multiple sensors. So if you look at this particular module, so it has the camera, it has some other sensors like smoke sensor and fire sensors, which can detect if there is a fire activity in the agriculture farm 24/7, and then it can alert, the entire system can alert the control room, from where the automatic message will go to the fire station for control of the fire, will automatically go to the agriculture department to take the preventive action, and will also go to the owner of that particular field, so that the owner can also be aware of that there is the fire incident. So this is another use case on which we are working. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Harish. It was really nice to hear two use cases. I hope you could have been physically here, but we miss you. But
Thank you.
in the interest of time, now let's move to the third session, and which is sharing stakeholders' experiences from the two standard definition organizations. I would like to request if you can join us on the stage, Ms. Margot Dor, who is director at HC for Government Affairs, and Ms. Bindu Shirvastav, uh, who is also director at TSDSI. Please. A round of applause for them, please. Okay. Is Pamela online? She's okay. Perfect. Yeah.
Yes, I am online.
Perfect. A warm welcome, Pamela. Please. So,
I may need to leave.
so this session is about sharing your experiences as SDOs. And Margot, I would like to request you to take the floor and whichever way you are comfortable.
Good afternoon. My name is Margot Dor. I'm with ETSI, in charge of government affairs, and I've had the privilege of indeed being in the birth of this project, thanks to another project with India, which is the CESE. The CESE team is there, Dinesh and Priya. Seconded European standards experts in India. So it's another point of call for all these things. I'm not going to bore you very long because I see there's a certain attraction from the buffet and it's been a long day. I just want to say a few things. This instrument, first of all, I remember very well, and Sachin mentioned it, I remember very well a meeting in CDOT, not that long ago. There was Orindam, Anupama, etc. And we were discussing, and there was Bindu, and we were discussing what could we do with this 1M, 2M, it's all very good and well, what do we do with this project, etc. Okay, 1M, 2M is gaining momentum. We need to start building, ecosystem. What if we were trying to do something like an app store for 1M, 2M? And from there, the idea of making hackathons started germinating. I'm not sure if this is very English, but enfin. And we started with this hackathon, and then it became test pilot, etc., etc. So I'm not gonna expand on the things. We heard some very interesting presentation, very passionate presentations about people who have been hands-on with that thing. But this project has had very interesting input in terms of the hackathon, the exchange in standardization meetings, etc. What's been interesting also is that it's been something that has been shared with industry, academics, we've seen it, research bodies, it's been small and medium companies, large companies, etc. It's been quite, the Commission would love to say inclusive, but it's been quite inclusive for that matter. And last but not least, thanks to all the good relations we have developed, CESE, 1M, 2M, EU delegation, and so forth and so on, 1M, 2M Release 2 and soon Release 3 has become an Indian national standard. Which is why, and this will be my second point, this would be really a pity to let this go down the drain. It takes a long time to build an ecosystem. And we need to build this ecosystem further, to further develop what we've seen. I understand from talking to different players here for this week I've been here, that the issue of certification is really high on the agenda. Certification of 1M, 2M things, the having big pilot projects, etc. So there is, you know what they say, you don't cross a chasm in 2 steps. In order to build this ecosystem, we need to continue the effort. And it would be really, really, really a pity to to stop now. I mean, the message is clear. We also met with the delegation yesterday, I believe, or day before yesterday, and there are many instruments that are in place. We need to see how and why and what's going to be how we can make the best use of all these things, especially because the relation, and Benoit is expanding on this, so I'm not going to expand, but because the relationship between EU and India is very, very rich, very fruitful and developing. Global Gateway, FTA, TTC, you name it. There is a number of the strategy, EU-India strategy, and so forth and so on. So we need really to walk the talk. And this project was a very good way to walk the talk, and we shouldn't stop here. It is sometimes non-standard people find the standardization issue extremely boring, but it's actually extremely important. And I would like to finish with one point, which I believe is essential. These instruments for these projects on the subject of standardization are even more important at a time. I've been in ETSI long enough to see the development of global standards for global supply chains. Everybody was a global village, very happy, etc. And now we see all the regions trying to sort of close themselves a little bit. Everybody wants to be digitally sovereign, whatever that means. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think it means a lot. Let's say strategically autonomous, it's much more operational. And it's very important that we don't close to each other and that we continue international global collaboration on standardization. We don't want to go back 30 years ago when there was a standard for Europe, a standard for Japan, a standard for the US, a standard for China, and so forth and so on. So it's very important at a time, and you probably are aware there is an important standardization strategy which was issued in Europe. Please pass the message when you meet with your political counterparts, etc., that yes, we can try and live in the global geopolitical context, but from a standardization and industry perspective, which is behind, and the market development perspective, this has to remain an open game. Otherwise, we will just be sorry that we sort of close ourselves on each other. Thank you very much. I won't take longer of your time. Shall I go back here or here?
Merci, Margot. Now I would like to call Ms. Pamela Kumar, Director General TSSI. A warm welcome to you, Pamela. And over to you for your remarks on the project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I was actually planning to be there in person, but then I had to come to Bangalore to attend another event in which I had a key role, which I have been playing, so I could not excuse myself from it. So I'm glad that we are able to do this in hybrid. Although the team, Bindu, Mr. Mittal and Mr. Madan are there, who have been, at the core of this whole Indo-EU project, and all the insights and inputs provided by them are very key to what we have achieved here. I agree with a lot of what Margot said, that what we have achieved here is a foundation for global harmonization in standards by really bringing the key players in the ecosystem together. We have experienced through this project and you have seen a snippet of the kind of collaboration and the impact that such collaboration can have. So the potential of what this project can do across EU and India is huge. We have just scratched the surface, so to say. I would like to thank all the key players who have made this happen, starting with Sachin Gaur and Klaus Pendel in the first phase of this project, and then Benoit, really, as I said, the spirit of what the Indo-EU collaboration can achieve is what Benoit brought to fore and enlightened us on and awakened us to the possibilities. And that's when Mr. Mittal and Mr. Madan stepped in, and what you saw today was the 3 centers of excellence that were mooted in the second phase of the project. When we had already completed 3 years and we completed extension for the next 2 years, and out of these 3 centers of excellence, we have seen some key results. Towards the third phase of the project, which happened in the middle of the pandemic, there was a workshop conducted and proposals invited for projects, which the focus was not so much on travel and events, because that was not possible in the pandemic era, but really on core work around standardization collaborations on various topics related to 5G and beyond, and of course the continuation of the next releases of 1M, 2M. And we see a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of desire to collaborate. We have had some minor successes there, not to the extent of what we have seen with the centers of excellence, but the potential is definitely there. Hence, while we technically need to bring a closure to this project, we can definitely stamp it as a good success story, which has laid a strong foundation for Indo-EU collaboration. And I urge everybody to reinforce the message that we have just started, and there's a big potential of what we can leverage and achieve for both the EU and the India side of bringing real genuine collaboration in the technology field to the advantage of both the geographies. So once again, I want to thank everybody, and on the EU side, it has been Margot and Louis Romero, who have made multiple trips here under the auspices of this project and kept us encouraged on the support that they have provided, and also Tony and what other name I'm forgetting. So there've been a lot of players who've come to all our meetings and helped us chug along through these. It's been on more than a 6-year journey here, and we're looking forward to taking these collaborations to the next level. And on the India side, I have mentioned Bindu has played a stellar role in keeping this project going, and Mr. Mittal and Mr. Madan, and then more recently, Mr. Rajesh Kapoor has also stepped in and helped bring some more projects under the purview of this. So, and of course, our Center of Excellence champions, Professor Sachin Gaur, Professor Anand Srivastav, and Professor Harish from UIT. They are the more major focus and the major success stories, and we are extremely proud of the way they have embraced and provided meaning and purpose to this project. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Pamela.
Over to Bindu. Yeah, I would like to hand over to Bindu to add a few.
Definitely.
Comments.
But I'd like to thank you, Pamela, and also we miss you here. We wish you could have been here personally. But over to Binduji.
Thank you, Pamela. Thank you, Margot, for already echoing the sentiments from the India side. I just wanted to mention 2 things. I've had the good fortune of being associated with this project right from the beginning. This project began with a pilot sometime in 2015, and we did a very new thing as far as TSDSI is concerned. We conducted a survey in a workshop asking our TSDSI members to vote to identify some topics on which they would like to carry out collaboration. And the voting mechanism was quite interesting, something that we use at KBC, Kaun Banega Crorepati, the voting thing, and that really engaged the members. So 3 topics were identified, 3 areas were identified on which kind of guided the activities of the project. You've heard some success stories, some outcomes. There are some lasting resources that have been created, have already been mentioned. I just wanted to add, ye dil mange more. We want the collaboration to continue. Maybe this particular project is coming to an end formally in February, but we look forward to more collaboration in a formal manner. We'll be very happy to work out a design a collaboration effort with the EU side. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Binduji. May I request DDGTC, Mr. AK AS Verma ji, please, if you can felicitate Margot Doe from HC. May I now request Binduji, please, sir, one more.
I think I'm accepting this on behalf of Pamela Kumar, our Director General.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much, Margot. Thank you, Binduji. Thank you, Pamela, for your contributions. Now we move to the last part. I know we are really preventing you from going to the best part, which is maybe the dinner. But this is about the conclusion. And may I request Mr. Benoit Sovroche, First Counselor, Digital Transformation Delegation of the EU to India. Benoit, if you could share your remarks from what you learnt.
Thank you. And yes, because I'm the last speaker, I will try to be as brief as possible. But I think it's important to raise that if this project was so successful, it's because it had a co-ownership between the two SDOs, TSDSI and ETSI. And I think it was absolutely essential to have this success. So the project, you understand, was about developing, adopting and promoting global standards. And at the beginning of the journey, TSDSI did not have the weight and the experience that they gained. And through this collaboration with ETSI, the idea was not only to develop in India, but help India participating on the elaboration of the global standards. And you heard a lot of examples, nice examples and achievements. I would like to be totally open and transparent to say that the journey was not always very easy and the success was not always very evident. That's why it's all the more rewarding to see where we've been, despite the fact on checking where we've been through. And on 1M, 2M being adopted as a national standard, here being developed, having the collaboration of India on this 1M, 2M that we had, for instance, this week, is very nice. You may have seen and followed that on 5G standards, it was not that evident at some stage. And I'm very happy that in the end, it was found at the 3GPP, so the International or Global Standard Setting Body, a way to integrate India's needs of developing 5G, which would be also catering for rural and remote areas, to integrate this requirement into the global standard instead of developing a fragmentation of the standard or an Indian standard. So it has been a journey, and it has been a journey where we learned a lot. And we definitely think that through this learning, the following standard, and in particular for 6G, will be much easier with India participating at the very early stage. And that's definitely one way where we see that the collaboration could continue and ensure that India plays its full role, bringing its own needs, but also its own knowledge and participation to the elaboration of this global standard. And the idea, as very much Margot said it, is that we're talking more and more about this resilience of global supply chain. And this can be ensured through the adoption of global standards. And that's why it's so important. All the more because India is trying now to develop, in particular in telecom, a whole infrastructure and production. Again, that should be very important that what is produced, complies not only with India standard, but with global standard, to have this resilience of the supply chains. And just to finish, one thing that was mentioned before on security aspects or cybersecurity, again, it's very important to be sure that, for instance, on 1M2M, India plays its own role in developing the security standards for 1M2M, instead of developing specific Indian standards on the top of the international standard, again, to ensure that there is this flexibility and resilience of supply chains. So there is a lot of ideas for continuing to work. We heard quite a few, and it's definitely the political will support at the very high level to continue the collaboration. So we're very happy to listen to the different experience and to discuss with the different partners to see how we can bring forward and at the same time renew the type of cooperation. I will just finish by again, myself thanking a number of actors that have been key in this collaboration. So of course, first from TSDSI, so DG Pamela Kumar, but beyond also Mr. Madan, Mr. Mittal, and Bindu Srivastava. On one side, on ETSI, so beyond the director Luis Romero, Margot Dor, and Xavier Piednoir. I do remember countless meetings, video or audio conferences where we're discussing the different activities, some of them that went through, some of them that couldn't, but and the very candid discussion that we had that helped in the end developing this success. Beyond these two co-owners, I would like also to thank all the ecosystem. We won't mention them all, but I mean, from DOT, TEC, CDOT, CDAC, NCCS as well, and from the EU side, the DG Connect and ENISA, but also all the universities, innovators, researchers, center of excellences, industry that participated in one way or another. This project, I mean, was also driven by very good experts that helped sharing their vision and their time for implementing it. So I would like to thank Arun Mukherjee, who has taken over from Sachin Gore, who started. And thank you both for bringing into fruition, and of course Alok as well, who has been, I believe, since the beginning also, and helping on this on the logistical aspect. I would like also to thank my colleagues from the delegation, in particular, so Ellen and Paulus, who are here, and also Rahul, my colleague here at the delegation in the same department, for your tireless follow-up and monitoring of the project. It's been very appreciated that thanks to your apportation, we managed each time we were facing difficulties to find a positive way out. Again, so I think it's the end of this project, but it's not the end of the collaboration. So definitely we need to keep in touch and to invent new beginnings. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Benoit. You have done the double job because we had a formal vote of thanks to be given by Rahul. So please, Rahul, if you can add to the thanks.
Thank you, Sachin. I don't know how to match that speech now. Namaste and very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very privileged to deliver the vote of thanks after Benoit. Very fortunate as well. When we were curating this program, so we were thinking how to do this, how to bring a close to the event. And we thought it could be best way to bring all those faces who have been part of this journey from the very beginning. Sachin Gore, who was there from the very first day in the project, Margot, who was there as well, Bindu as well,
So I still remember in 2015 when everybody gathered in the ISC center room and we were discussing how to start this journey of standards process, this collaboration. And we took one full day just to identify what all topics we can work together with. We had the charts, we wrote n number of topics, and it took nearly a month or so to decide that which all topics we need to work together. Bindu already said that which are those topics. It hasn't been a simple or an easy journey. And since standards give us that privilege that we need to be patient, this has been a very patientful journey and not an easy journey as well. But we are very proud that this project is now coming to an end. And that doesn't mean that the collaboration is ending. But like anything and everything, some things needs to get a closure, and some things needs a fresh beginning, a new start, and that's where we are going to go ahead with. And with this, I would like to thank all the stakeholders at CTSDSI. I would like to thank the Department of Telecommunications for their continued support to the project. I would like to thank my colleague in EU delegation. I did not mention the names. Benno has already done that. All the participants, and I would like to specially mention that first time in the history, the vote of thanks speaker is getting a 15-minute speech. We are well short in time, but I'm not going to take that time. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being in our journey. We will come again with a fresh face and with a fresh collaboration support to continue this journey. Thank you so much, and we can head now. Thank you so much.